Shalom and welcome everyone to this evening Zoom class. We are going to discuss the soul and try and know what a cursed soul is, what brings curses to the soul, and how can we rectify a cursed soul. As you know, my name is Okuma Yomtov. I am working for BOTSINA KADISHA in Jerusalem. And we have the BOTSINA KADISHA branches in different countries of Africa. In Nigeria alone, we have branches in different states of Nigeria where people can go and study. Some synagogues, they study the material, what we are going to do now. They study them and learn from them too. So let's go to action. We know that there are 4 basic elements of creation. And that means in every human being, there are 4 basic elements in every human being. Sure, if there are 4 basic elements, it means each element constitutes 25%. 25% of the person. Is it the soul? It means fire is 25% in the soul, water is 25% in the soul, wind is 25% in the soul, and dust or earth is also 25% in the soul. We are talking of causes when the proportion is not equal. When you see that instead of fire having 25%, you will see fire having 30%. So there is inequilibrium. Once there is inequilibrium in the soul, that is the soul that is claimed to be cursed. So when we say a soul is cursed, it means there is no equilibrium. There is no harmony. There's something wrong in the soul. And that is why the person behaves as such. We've mentioned anger in many cases. Why is it that somebody will be easily provoked, but another person will face the same situation, he will smile over it. He might not even say a word. The same situation is because inside the soul, rooted in the soul, there is disharmony. And what is the disharmony? The 4 elements, which is the building block of the soul, they have conflicts. So when you see people fighting, it's not only human beings that are fighting. There are things in everybody's soul that are still fighting. Crazy fighting for space. You know, you are supposed to be 25. Why are you 30? You are reducing me. So, you know, something like that. So air is supposed to be 25% in the soul, fire 25%, earth 25%, and water 25%. There are some people who have spent time facing their soul. They have attained that level where there is a proportional balance, where there is balance in their soul. Meaning when the fire is 25%, wind 25%, water 25%, and the dust or earth is also 25%. When they have attained that stage, those people are called Zadik Gamu. They don't sin because that thing that would have prompted them to sin from the soul has been taken care of. So we need to watch out our own behavior. After we mentioned the 4 midot ra'ot, that is the evil midot, the evil characters, the 4 basic evil characters. You monitor your life, the way you live, the way you talk, whether you have some problems with any of the 4 basic bad characters. If you notice anyone, it means that one is above 25%. I hope you understand me.
Yes.
Good. So if you are always angry, with a little thing you are angry, You are jealous of people's promotion or elevation. You hate somebody because it's not from your particular tribe. That is unconditional hatred. All those qualities, if they are in you, then just notice that the fire in you is too much. So you have to fix that fire element in your soul. If when you go to places, you lead the talk all the time, and the talk is not about Torah, but you always lead it. It could be soccer, it could be politics, it could be anything that is not relevant to Torah. You're always leading. It means you have excess of air. What do? You start working on it. It means you have more than 25% of air. And if you have more than 25%, you have already reduced another element that's supposed to be 25% to maybe 20%. So just like I said, if all the elements are not 25% each, it means the soul has some disharmony. So it means the soul is cursed. So we go through the tutorial and see what we can do about it, how we can diagnose and know that our soul has some causes ingrained in it. So as I'm saying, nobody is actually absolutely free from this disease of the soul. Nobody is 100% free, but people attain it after working on themselves for a period of time. So now let's say, what is the proper amount of each element in a man's neshama or in a man's nefesh or neshama? The elements, we mentioned that the elements are ingrained in the nefesh. That is the lowest part, the lowest level of the soul. If we can remember, if you are asked or you were asked, why do you have to fix the elements? Why do you not have to continue observing mitzvot and forget about this lesson we are teaching about or we are learning about elements? It is because right inside the soul, the lowest level of the soul, there are these klipot, bad elements in the soul, in the nefesh. But when you climb higher to the other high levels of the soul, there is nothing like that. Meaning that the lower level of the soul is concerned with midot, with character, with elements. But the higher level of the soul is concerned with the 613 commandments. So don't approach the 613 commandment that is high and not doing anything about the basic, the fundamental, the foundation. The nefesh is the foundation. If you have not rectified the nefesh that contains the elements, this 25% of each of the elements, there is no need you rush into observing Torah. So the mitzvot are separated from the characters, which is in Hebrew called midot. The midot are in the nefesh, while the 613 commandments are in the other levels of the soul. So there is a diagram in our tutorial. Those who have the opportunity, go check the PDF. You see the diagram of the soul. You see the levels of the soul and everything. So this is why we are trying to study the elements again and try to know how a soul become a cursed. From this evening onward, you know, a soul is cursed if each of the elements is not exactly 25%. That is, something is either fire is dominating, or water is dominating, or air is dominating. So under fire, I mentioned anger, pride, unconditional hatred. Under wind, that is under air, I will mention useless speech. It's the basic thing. We talk too much, we say useless things. We do lashon hara without knowing. That's why you see somebody who is saturated in Torah, we still fall prey to doing lashon hara. He might not know that it's something he cannot control because he has not really worked on this lashon hara, on the air element. Is it water? Water is responsible for lust for excessive pleasure. So when you have lust for excessive pleasure, that means the water element in your soul is higher, is more than 25%. So it will trouble your soul. Your soul will be in disharmony. Then dust, which is earth. You know, earth has weight. Dust has weight compared to the other elements. It is the cause of laziness. It is the cause of depression. And what is how come someone is depressed? Most people are depressed because of material things. They are trying to buy a car, they could not buy it, they become depressed, and it affects their Torah study. They want to marry the most beautiful wife, a woman in Nigeria or in Uganda, they could not fetch the money to marry the woman, so they become depressed. Where is Hashem? Why is Hashem not helping me? Torah, let Torah be there first. Depression comes from the earth element and is associated with material acquisition. I want to be the head of a synagogue. You'll be struggling to become the head, you can't get it, so you become depressed, you become discouraged, you become lazy. So it means earth is more than 25% in you. That you are worried about. There are people in the synagogue who are not worried about it. They don't care. They are not looking for position. If you give them, they will work. If you don't give them, they don't care. Even if you give it to somebody who does not know Torah up to there, what they know, they will not bother themselves. As long as a member of the community, they say, oh, carry on, brother. They will even assist the brother to grow. There are times you want to do a program in South Africa. The people in other country will say, why is this South Africa? Why not in my country? They will fight over it. These are elements of that's to show that some of those people, they have issues with the midot. They have issues with the element in their soul. So we have reasons why the four elements are supposed to be equal. If they are equal, there will be harmony in the soul, and the person will live a good life. He will be able to perform the mitzvot, the 613 mitzvot without hitch. He will even enjoy it. He will reap from the mitzvot he performing. Sometimes we see ourselves performing mitzvot, doing everything, especially in Africa. That is the Judaism in Africa. A lot of us struggle to do all the mitzvot, but it's not reflecting in our lives. It's not reflecting in our lives.
Because of the character.
Yes, I am not saying that everybody can become rich overnight, but the level of poverty alone, I'm not saying that you must be rich when you do Torah, but the level of poverty alone, and many people cannot even get out of it. It indicates that something is wrong in the soul. We have examined that. We have discovered that. That's why the Rosh of this yeshiva said, Africans, this is a new thing. We have to follow the teachings of the Holy Ari, follow the teaching of the Holy Ari, so that we'll be able to feast our soul. Because if the soul is not feast, you will be sick in many ways. Physically, you could be sick of illnesses, you can be sick of poverty. But if you rectify the soul, all those sickness will disappear. Excuse me, please. So, shalom, everyone. Welcome, Uko. Welcome, Moshe, Michael, my brother. Welcome, everyone. I'm glad to meet you. Aderi, Joshua, you are welcome. If you're not talking, mute your mic. If you're not talking, mute your mic so that it will not distract the class. Please mute your mic so that it will not distract us. Your mic so that it will not distract us, please.
Why are you now?
So, as we are talking, if you have any question, interrupt me and ask your question. Interrupt me and ask your question so that we'll be carried along. We've just said that the soul is made up of 4 elements of creation. Anything you see in this world is made up of 4 elements of creation, including the soul, the spiritual soul. And meaning that for you to live a life of harmony, a life of peace where you can observe the 13 mitzvot, you need a soul that has 25% of water, 25% of fire, 25% of earth, 25% of air. So the 4 elements must be 25% each for you to live the life of harmony. And if your life is not in harmony, the mitzvot you perform will not take you anywhere. We have read all those ones, we've studied all those ones. The need for you to rectify your soul before you do mitzvot. Because the mitzvot, they are in a different section of the soul. While the midot, the character, are in a different section of the soul. So since they are of not the same section, it is different thing that you can use the midot for. It is another thing you can use the 613 mitzvot for. So you can use the commandment for something. You can also build your character for something because they dwell in different parts of the soul. Shalom, Israel. So like I said, if you have questions, you can ask. Then what are the consequences of not having equal amount of each element in the soul? If the elements are not equal in your soul, what happens? When the elements are not balanced, they become a cause in the soul. They can bring illness, bad behavior, evil deeds, abject poverty, adversity, agony, as well as premature or unnatural death to a man if they are not balanced. When they are balanced, the 4 elements work together harmoniously like one family. They work together like one family. What cause is connected to fire or the element of fire in the neshama? At 25%, fire is a good element when it is 25% in the soul. Who can tell me the quality one we have if your fire is 25%? One of the midot to vote that you will have, one of the good character you will have, if the fire in your soul is 25%, who can tell us? Can you remember? Instead of anger, instead of pride, you will have a particular character. What character is that?
Humility.
Humility, good. So humility. So if the fire in you is 25%, you are sure of being humble. That is the question. When fire is good, there is harmony between fire and the other elements. When fire is 25%, there will be harmony between fire and the other elements. What dominates the man's life when fire is good is the midah called humility. However, at 25%, fire is not good. At above 25%, fire is not good for the soul. You remember color? I will not talk about color. When fire is not good, the evil of fire manifests as
red.
Color what? Color red.
Red.
So the color red indicates that the person does not have 25% fire. So the evil of fire is color red. So the evil of water is another color. The evil of air is another color. The evil of earth is another color. Let's continue. When fire becomes bad as red, the midot ra'ot, such as pride and arrogance, will manifest. So externally, you will be seeing the person full of arrogance, full of pride, full of pride. When they go somewhere, you must select somebody from his family to lead or to do something. If you fail to select somebody from the family, you are in trouble. That is the root of tribalism in Africa. Some people are even proud of their colonial masters, that my colonial master is better than your colonial master. You know, they are proud of it. So if they want to do something, they will look for somebody, okay, where both of us are from British Empire. Instead of talking about Africa, they will say, this guy is from British Empire. We speak English very well. Come, choose him for the purpose or for the event. Because both of them are from the British Empire. Is it French-speaking countries? Some African countries are divided because of that. So if those things are prevalent, then it is as a result of the fire element that is dominating. Pride, arrogance, unconditional hatred, jealousy. So the good of fire is fire. The evil of fire is red. The bad midot or the bad midah, which comes from fire, is pride or arrogance. The opposite of pride is what? Humility. Those who have been traveling with us on this program or in this program, they understand what we mean by this summary. What cause is associated to ruach, the element of wind in the soul? So we mentioned 4 elements. The elements of wind also has its own cause. The element of water has its own cause. At 25%, ruach, which is a wind, is good in the soul. When ruach is good, there is harmony between or friendship between the ruach and the other elements. That means there will be harmony between air and water and the rest, because air is 25%. Air is called ruach, or wind is called ruach. But when wind is above 25% in the soul, wind is no more good. And the evil of wind manifests as color what? Color white.
White.
Good.
White.
Thank you, Chief Uko. So it manifests as color white. When ruach or air becomes bad as color white, what trait do you see in the person? Useless speech. So somebody can be a great Torah scholar, but when you are in his midst, you will hear nonsense coming from his mouth, bad things coming from, lashon coming from his mouth. Some are very, very advanced, yet they still do all those things. So this is why we must come down to this level and rectify our soul, because that soul is what is sick. When air becomes bad as white, the trait is unnecessary or useless speech. Both color white and unnecessary speech that comes from the ruach are the causes of the neshama. So you now identify 2 causes. One is the color, one is the character. The bad of wind is color white, and the bad character of wind is what? Is useless speech. So when ruach becomes bad, okay, we've said that both color white and unnecessary speech that come from ruach are the causes of the soul. Let's summarize. The good of ruach is ruach, that the good of wind is wind. The evil of wind is white. The bad or opposite of evil speech is silence. Silence, I mean. So if you want to correct evil speech, you learn how to be silent or have to be silent. We shall do that in another course. So then, what are the causes connected to water? When water is 25%, is good. But above 25%, you will see things like excessive desire for pleasure. That's what you are going to see. So excessive desire for pleasure and the color green.
Green.
Yes, good. Are the causes associated with the element of water. What of air? When earth 20 wind, that is dust or earth. When earth is 25%,
Black. Black. Black.
So
Black.
when the soul is cursed, you see the color black associated with the soul, and also you will see that there is attitude like laziness or depression or sadness in the person. So this is to tell you there are some people actually who are great in Torah. Actually, they are great in Torah, but there is sadness inside them. They are not happy. They are not happy. You as a person, even if you as you are now, you are great in Torah, or you are good in doing your Torah, but there is no joy in you. You can't find joy. It means something is wrong in the soul. So you must live to that place where you observe the 613 commandments with joy. And you can only attain that if you have built your soul. Are people born equal with the same proportion of elements? Because we mentioned 25%. Are people born equal? Are there people who really have all these 25% from birth? People, even those from the same womb, vary in qualities, they vary in values, they vary in behavior. Some are glad from birth, while others are born in sorrow. Some are miserly, whereas others are liberal from birth. Some are merciful, while others are cruel from birth. Some are of tender heart, but others are brave from the womb. People have varying proportion of each element from birth. Some elements are in excess in some people, not always 25% from birth. 1 or 2 elements are usually in excess in every person. So this is a general disease. We are talking about disease of malaria, typhoid, and the rest. Now we are talking about disease of the soul. The rabbi told us that if you are working with someone without knowing the person to the soul, that you are going to be in trouble. Today we are happy, those of us who started long ago, we are happy that we can know ourselves to our soul. Even your children in the house, you know them to their soul. Through the study of this midot or the elements. Your wife, you know your wife, you when you are in this yeshiva before 1, 2, 3 months, you should be able to know your wife to her soul. You should be able to know your husband to his soul. If you have a suitor, within few minutes of staying together or 1 hour of staying together, you will just see the quality, the character of the suitor. When you meet a great Torah scholar and you are discussing, with the first statement is going to make, you will just know what is in the soul of that person. So that is the essence of doing this thing, so that all of us can live in harmony. If we are locked up or we are in the same room, so that we will not hurt each other, we will not damage each other's property, we will not cause bad things to happen among us. Because if my soul is in harmony, your soul is in harmony, then it is then we can live together in peace. Does the society also influence people's midot? Yes. Your spouse can influence your midot, your family can influence your midot, your character, I mean, your friends, your family, your club, your community, the institutions you belong can influence your behavior. What are the midot ra'ot to the soul? We know what midot ra'ot are. That are the bad character traits that we have. What are they? The midot ra'ot, the bad characters, are the causes of the soul. They are the causes of the soul. They are the sickness of the soul. So this is why we deem it necessary to discuss them, so that we cannot think about how to heal ourselves. None of us is actually through with fixing the midot yet. But Rabbi, the Ari Hakadosh told us that we should spend the whole of our life rectifying the midot. That is why we are on earth. So it's something we need to go through. If you have any literature about it, read midot, study midot. So we have known the midot, the causes in the soul. If you ask anywhere what are the causes of the soul, you can name the 4 things. Is anybody ready to name them? The 4 things that are the causes of the soul. Those 4 midot ra'ot. Can you name some? Okay.
Fire, water.
No, fire. These are the elements.
These are the elements.
The character. The fire is the root.
Anger, pride, jealousy, and that's anger, pride, jealousy, evil speech, and baseless hatred or so, if I can remember vividly. So please, Rabbi, correct me.
No, okay, let's take it element by element.
Okay.
What are the sickness of the soul that is associated with fire? Just name.
That's
one.
anger.
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 Anger is tied to what?
Oh, okay. It's tied to humility.
No. The anger, although anger, pride, and the arrogance, they are one.
Yes.
Okay. So anger, pride, and arrogance, they are one thing. In Hebrew, we call it gava. Gava is the offshoot. Is the offshoot of fire. So now let's go to air. What is the offshoot of air? What is the sickness in the soul that is caused by air? Any person can answer, please.
Depression?
No, air. That's ruach.
Air. Oh, unnecessary talk or bad language?
Useless speech.
Useless.
Is the sickness of the soul. Now, which one is associated with earth? Quickly. Depression. Which one is associated with water? Mayim.
Excessiveness.
Mayim, excessive desire for pleasure.
Yeah, for pleasure.
You want to eat all the type of meat, cook meat and fish together, even when somebody is telling you, no, I want to focus on the pleasure. So thank you, everyone. We go to a second session, and then we close this session, and I will send the link to you within 5 minutes. So thank you for being here. When we go to the second session, we have more time to ask questions, to discuss, because there must be room for discussion. So, and there must be room to entertain more questions. So Hillary, my friend from Zimbabwe, Moshe Michael from Nigeria, Shmuel, Israel, Shalom, Abraham, Joshua.
Shalom, my teacher.
Joshua, Shalom, Isaiah, Shalom, Ravi, Ingrid. Ingrid, you are going to teach me how to pronounce this name very well so that I will not offend you.
No, you pronounce it very well, Ingrid.
Okay, that's good. Our sister from the US, Joseph, Chief Uko, Aviva, and Holy Africa. Thank you. Within the next 5 minutes, 10 minutes, we'll be back. I will share the link. Shalom, shalom.
Shabbat shalom to everyone.
Yeah.
Shalom.